What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here. Today we got an exciting one because we got a lot of information on the War Within expansion coming up, and I'm really excited because we finally got a rework on the Druid class tree, which has been doo-doo paper since day freaking one, and I was like so annoyed that they never changed anything. So I'm gonna go over the quick Wrestle Druid changes and one a very interesting talent that you may have seen already, but that's going to make Wrestle Druid in 2v2, my favorite, going to be, I think, a little too strong. So let's get into it here. So the new talent tree, I do have a talent calculator I'm going to show you, but let's just emphasize the new stuff that's coming out. The new abilities that are going to be talents, we have Fluid Form, which makes Shred Rake automatically put you into cat form. Note you are skipping a global cooldown by doing this. Mangle used in any form, and Wrath and Starfire auto shift you into Moonkin form if known. That one I don't know. I don't think, from the looks of the tree, there is no more Moonkin form for balance, which is interesting. I don't know, or sorry, Wrestle Druid, which I don't know because that kind of fucks over Convoke, right? Because at that point Convoke doesn't work. It doesn't work in yeah, I guess it doesn't say Star Surge anymore. I don't know. It doesn't say Star Surge anymore. Maybe you can't Boomy Convoke anymore. Interesting. We'll have to see once. I don't have access to the alpha, unfortunately, so I can't test that for sure. But Oak Skin, this is down over here. Oh yeah, Fluid Form is over here, by the way. Oak Skin is down on the bottom left. Survival Instincts and Bark Skin reduce your damage taken by an additional 10%. That's pretty good defensive. Instinct of the Claw, which is right down here, bottom left. All of your, basically your cat form abilities buffed by 10%. Lore of the Grove, Moonfire, Sunfire damage increased by 10%, and Rejuve Wild Growth healing increased by 5%. Or 10% Moonfire, 5% Rejuve. That's over here on the bottom right. Ursoc Spirit Stamina in Bear form is increased by 10%. That's right over here. Starlight Conduit, Wrath, Star Surge, and Starfire damage. I mean, it says, I guess you just don't do them in Moonkin form? But then that really messes. Oh. So maybe there's just straight up no. It doesn't say anything of Moonkin form anymore. So I guess Moonkin form is gone for Wrestle Druid. So how do you act? I guess you activate this now by going into cat form and then popping out, and then casting those abilities. That's really awkward, but okay. Maybe there's something else going on with that we're not aware of. Okay, and then some changes here to the tree. Tireless Pursuit's gone, which I actually really like personally, but is what it is. Move to baseline Druid, Balance Druid, so that's interesting. It's not on the tree though. Swiftmend is baseline for Wrestle Druids, so I guess you can't take Swiftmend as other specs anymore, and you can't take Moonkin form as other specs anymore. Unless it's just like baseline to the Druid class. I don't know. We'll find out. Feline Swiftness is now 1 point, which is nice, but it is kind of out of the way. It is now over here on the left side. Let me zoom this in just a wee bit. That's a lot of it, but honestly, maybe that's good for the video. No, let's get one out. Okay, that's over out to the side now. Here, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do this. Oh my god. Okay, Lakera's Teachings is now 2 points, so that used to be 3 points. That's 2. That's really nice. Forest Walk now increases your movement speed and healing received by 8% for 6 seconds, so pretty large buff to it, and they moved it in a more convenient spot. It used to be like over here somewhere, so that's really nice. So it may be an option to take. Astral Influence is now 1 point, freaking awesome, and it's in a much better spot, so I think most people are gonna be able to take this without going down. You know, in the past you had to go down the whole Boomkin side to get that. Thick Hide reduces damage taken by 4% for 1 point instead of being 6% for 2 points. Improve swipe go on particular pack. Good. So let us show you the, and then finally, oh wait, hold on. Did I miss the oh, it's down here. You know what? I'm gonna skip over that stuff for now. Oh, the rest of the side. Here we go. So Call of the Elder Druid. So now the PvP talent is now part of the regular tree, which is good. I think this was a really cool ability, and it didn't really make sense that they didn't put this in for PvE. It just makes kind of sense as a way to do damage. So now it's going to free up a PvP talent, which is awesome for me because I always played it anyway. I really do hope they do address that it doesn't reduce the cast time of Cyclone. We'll see what happens though. Yeah, there's nothing about Moonkin form, man. So interesting. Okay, replaces Adaptive Swarm. Adaptive Swarm is gone, ladies and gentlemen. That shit is out of here. It is no longer on the tree. It's replaced by Call of the Other Druid. Okay, I thought this was really cool, man. I had a quick little talk with a guy who works at Blizzard with the PvP stuff, and he just asked my input. And I said, if we could get to the point, he was asking my opinion on offensive capabilities of Druids. And I said, if we can make it to a point where it's similar to like Imperial Blazes or was for Holy Priest, where we have a 1 minute cooldown, then we can go in, do damage, contribute to the fight, and then get out. Or, you know, even if you don't go in, you can use like cast spells and whatnot. And then the really interesting one here is Dream of Cenarius, which was a talent back in MoP, I think, added, but it does something completely different. While Heart of the Wild is active, your Wrath, Shred transfer 150% of the damage they do, and Starfire and Swipe transfer 100% of the damage they do into healing onto a nearby ally, and that replaces the improved Swarm talent. Okay, this is the big one, ladies and gentlemen. So that talent is now over here. Okay, there's a few things I'm interested to see how they work, right? So basically, this is, I know people are like, dude, no, the Fistweaver. I get it, it is going to be rough, but I think it's a net positive as long as it's tuned correctly, okay? So it is on a 1 minute cooldown that may not be 100% of the time used in the right spot. It's not like Fistweaver where they have it up all the time. They can just be a menace sitting on your ass the whole game, punching and kicking you for all this healing that's healing everybody. Okay, this is healing to one nearby ally, and it's only during Heart of the Wild, which typically is going to be every 1 minute, and you get it for 10 seconds. So it's 10 seconds per 1 minute. I think that's very fair as a way to do that. The interesting thing here is, though, I'm interested in how it's going to connect with, oh shit, I should actually talk about this next time. Hold on, I'm going to get back to that. Let me finish these new talents. Rejuvenation instantly heals your target for 30% of the total periodic effect, and regrowth duration is increased by 6 seconds, which replaces Luxurious Soil, which is here. Okay, so it's kind of a weird spot to put in there. So this is really giving us some tough choices on the talents. And then last but not least, Prosperity. Swiftman now has 2 charges. So what they did, they moved Flourish down to Photosynthesis, which is not a problem in PvP because Photosynthesis is pretty much mandatory for you there. But Flourish is a really good PvE talent, and I like it in general, but it was just always on the same talent tree or same spot as Verdant Infusion. So it extends all of your hots. But now you have the possibility of double Swiftmen, which could be better just for the sake of Soul of the Forest, where you get all these Swiftmen, and the synergy with Reforestation. I think this could be very interesting to see how this would work. And then what I was getting back to saying is, does Dream of Cenarius work with Reforestation in that the fact that you do get tree form procs, you proc into tree form, which already increases all of your healing by 15%. You start casting instant cast Wraths for all of this damage, and you do it while you proc Heart of the Wild first, or use on use. I've done this before in retail now, but the damage you can output in that 10 seconds of tree form is freaking insane. Let me give, just for perspective, in that 10 seconds in the current state, I can pump around 600 to 700k damage, okay? If I'm able to do 600 to 700k damage in that 10 seconds, and I'm doing 150%, that is now healing like 1 million healing in that 10 seconds off of doing damage, which could be really interesting to see the synergies of that. And that would actually be a viable way to do damage as a healer in Solo Shuffle. I think the fist weaving part of it, like pushing in, may be tough, because you obviously open yourself up to getting swapped to and all this stuff. So I don't know exactly how that's going to play out yet, but if you are at a minimum able to proc it and sit in the back and just throw some Starfires and some Wraths, because Starfire is not on the same school as your heals, so you can just sit in the back and cast Starfires and heal, which is really interesting. I don't know if it's going to heal enough. In that case, I think Shred will heal enough, and I think if you're able to instant cast Wrath, it will heal enough. The other things, I think it's going to be very minuscule, almost like an atonement. But we're going to have to see how the tuning turns on that. Those are the big things, and then we also have just a few talent class changes. They buff Reju by 30%. This was another thing I mentioned to the person that I was talking to. I was hoping that they were going to nerf Life Bloom and nerf the Mastery, and then buff Reju tremendously. So this is going to change things because this also buffs germination. So that means germination is also really good. So this is going to be some tough choices we're going to have to make on the talent tree in terms of what to take. It's going to be tough, man. So, and then otherwise, Verdant Infusion was nerfed. I think that was already 8 seconds of PvP though, so that's not a change. Sunfire was buffed. Sunfire at the moment was just way too mana intensive, so I don't know how that's going to be. Shred and Rake nerfed, rightfully so though if they are going to heal. And then Efflorescence Abundance, we don't use any of that stuff. Grove Garden is reduced by 50%, fair enough, and mana cost increase. Perfect. I think those are great changes. So we got some interesting stuff coming, guys. Fuck, man, I don't know these interactions, but I'll say this one thing, man. 2v2 is about to be a fucking Resto Druid fest, man. And you're about to get terrorized by some Resto Druids if you're playing well with this. Like, the fact that I can pick up movement speed, maim, skull bash, regular bash, typhoon, increase range on all my spells for Cyclone. Boy, oh boy, am I gonna be freaking annoying. And you add that on top of the now Dream of Sonaris, which, if you guys watch me currently play Resto Druid, I can have pretty gosh darn high cat form uptime. Like, just sitting in your face, and now I can do it even more. And on top of that, I'm more disruptive than I was before. Let's see what happens. Another little minor thing, by the way, is Hibernate is accessible now. There were so many times where I wanted to take Hibernate versus for Resto Druids, and now that Resto Druids are going to be incentivized to go cat form more, Hibernate's going to be pretty clutch, and I freaking love hibernating other Druids, man. It is a blast. You can hibernate other Druids, you can hibernate Shamans in Ghost Wolf, and as well as just pets in general. So much to look forward to, man. And just a little side note, this Wildstalker tree is kind of favoring everything that we're doing here, being able to stay in cat form and do a lot more damage. You have increased cat form and damage and healing while in cat form, which is probably going to impact this as well. So man, I'm excited. I'll let you guys, I'll keep you guys updated as I get more access to the beta. I have the Epic Edition, so I will have access to the beta. So I'll have to keep on going. Let me guys know if any your comments you have, and yeah. All right. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.